This is WFO Radio.
Hey, everybody, we are back. We are now back, and we're getting ready for Vegas here on WFO Radio. And what we're doing on this show is we're going to actually double back to Texas before Vegas, because we never got to speak with our funny car and top fuel winner at the Stampede of Speed Fall Nationals. I'm talking about Ron Capps and Justin Ashley. And if you followed WFO Radio for the 10 years we've been going, you know that our thing, actually longer than that, back to 2006 on XM satellite radio, our thing is we speak with the winners. You win your way on WFO. It's not even really my choice. If you win, for the most part, in the Camping World Series, you have earned a spot on WFO Radio, with which to talk about whatever you want. And we always talk about the race and have a good time. So Ron Capps, just a couple of moments away. Since then, he has taken over the points lead. Also, Justin Ashley going to be on in about 25 minutes from now. So if you're a big fan of NHRA, of Nitro, if you think the future is bright for our sport, I would encourage you to share, retweet, let your friends know about this show, whether live or after the fact, as we're all getting ready for the Dodge SRT Nationals in Vegas. The penultimate race in the NHRA Camping World Series. I love saying penultimate. It's one of my favorite things. All right, before we get to Ron, who'll be up first, I just want to tell you about the people who make it possible for me to do WFO Radio and chase drag racers around during the week. And I have such a good time doing it. Folks like Frank Hawley and Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. The Dragster Adventure, all you have to do is check out their social media feeds. Hopefully you follow them. You see all the drivers that are coming through and the great things with the Dragster Adventure. But the holidays are coming, and now is the time where everybody's stressing. Nobody can get anything that they want. They're saying on the news that you won't be able to get your gifts and stuff. Listen, get something special that you know you can get. Frank Hawley's Dragster Adventure for the drag racer in your life. They'll love it. Or for the person who doesn't even understand why you like drag racing, that would probably be even better. Go to frankhawley.com. Tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio. And samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology, training the next generation of crew chiefs and engine builders and knowledgeable machinists and CNC programmers and EFI tuners, going through the courses down there in the Houston, Texas area. Check them out, samtech.edu. My buddy Marvin Rodak in Fort Worth, Texas, rodakscoffeeandgrills.com. Hot sauces and spice rubs and grills and tools and tips and information. If you're in the Fort Worth area, you should swing by the showroom, which is also an auto repair shop. It's really cool. Where they're roasting coffee. You call them 817-924-6821. You order the coffee. He says, thank you, hangs up the phone and picks it out and goes and roasts it right there, ships it out. You're not going to get better, fresher coffee from around the world than you do from Marvin. 817-924-6821. And this Friday at the track, Total Seal will be having a trackside tech talk about rings, ring seal, honing. Ed Keebler from Rottler Manufacturing going to be there. Keith Jones, the director of technical sales from Total Seal, going to be there. It's going to be in the Pro Stock pits. You must have a ticket to the race to get in. You can't just walk in and say, yeah, I'm going to the tech talk, but it's all going on. Check out these really cool flyers that they put up, piston rings and cylinder honing, what's changed and why. Straight talk from the experts. If you're coming to Vegas as part of SEMA, you might as well go to the Trackside Tech Talk, 1 p.m. Pacific time, Vegas time, baby, out there in the Pro Stock pits. Total Seal. Big thanks to them and our sponsors. And a little later, I'll tell you about the WFO store and all the cool new stuff that you can get in the WFO store real soon. But now it is time to bring on the Texas Fall Nationals Funny Car winner and the points leader, Mr. Ron Capps.
Hey, man. How are you?
What's up, Ron? Ron's composing a tweet. How are you, Ron?
Actually, no. I'm getting ready for SEMA. Now that you mentioned SEMA, all those requests are coming in to, it's just you try to get your itinerary set, and it's a busy time of the year, although it's kind of weird this year not to be as crazy as it usually is.
Maybe a good thing for those of us that are, hardcore racers, like instead of, what is it, like 150,000 people, it'll only be 80 or something. I don't know. A couple more feet of space might be nice.
Yeah, I can tell you what will be cool and probably bigger than it has been in a long time is PRI.
Yes.
With SEMA show being, light and people not traveling here, especially from overseas, PRI is going to be pretty cool. And I can tell you that there will be at least one cool announcement at PRI. And we will probably talk, you and I, about that after Pomona, perhaps.
Muy interesante.
Yeah.
All right. And you know what, Ron? Thank you so much for just teasing like what might be happening. Because I got to tell you, people are asking, they're burning me up. What's up? What's up with this? What's up with that? What's up with Caps? You know my deal, man. I am content to let it roll out when it does, especially the way things are going right now.
It's an exciting time. I mean, we're fighting for a championship, and the last probably month and a half has been the most scary time of my life, the most exciting time of my life, the most intriguing, and there's a lot of cool stuff going on, and I can't wait to let it out to all of our fans. I know people are worried, and they hear a lot of things going on at the pit area, so I'm hoping to let all that out after the season's over, and hopefully we can do that with a big World Championship trophy. We got quite the battle going on, so there would nothing be better than to have that PRI announcement with the big World Championship trophy sitting next to it.
Wow. Well, sounds great. Listen, I'm going to just tell everybody, Tony Stewart has finally allowed Ron to run in the SRX series. Let's just put it all out there.
That would be cool. That would be very cool.
We got to twist this guy's arm now that we see him a little bit more. But yeah, there's a lot of big announcements, and we'll just leave it at that. And everybody, listen, don't badger Ron. Let it all just happen as it happens, and we'll see what happens. Now, I want to talk about positive things, great things, Vegas, and go back to that final round, and then, things that were probably not as great in Bristol, but it's all been put into perspective once again for us in the drag racing community. Dylan from Head's team involved in a highway accident. We lost him. And, you put out a nice tweet, and it's just like, how much tragedy can one community deal with? What a nightmare. I can't help but think for his family. The kid's 23. He's already where he wants to be. He's living his dream, and just something literally comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's tough. We all kind of got the news. It sprinkled in little by little Sunday. It happened there near where all the headquarters are in Indianapolis. So I heard about it a little bit later, and ironically, I got to meet this kid's family a few years ago at a Napa event. They drove over 2 hours to come say hi to me and told me about their son. And so the next race, I went and found him and surprised him and told him I met their parents, his parents. So I was hoping you never know. You hear the news of an accident, you don't know, then you hear that there was a death, and you're like, oh my God. You see the pictures of Jim Head's trailer, and so lo and behold, it was Dylan. And so yeah, it's tough, especially hearing all the details and how it went down. And it's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And just, thinking about, Dominic last year, and then Eric, of course, and just in all of our lives, there have been so many just moments. And I think we've all focused like so much more on each other. Just a tough deal, but we're going racing, right? And I like to think about, like, if I ever I'll tell you now, the day something tragic happens to me, Ron, you guys better go race and have fun, burn the nitro, and I like to think that Dylan would feel exactly the same way, maybe more so. Yeah,
he would, for sure. He would, there's no doubt about it. And he was living a dream. That's the way I feel. I feel the same way as you, Joe. I don't, we get to do something pretty cool for a living. You do, I do, and we get to share it with our fans. And yeah, I don't, I think a lot of us feel the same way. I mean, you don't want to think about that happening, but when it does somebody in our sport, I mean, obviously he was on his way to a race, probably as happy as can be. He's driving Jim Head's rig. There's a lot of worse ways that you can leave this earth. So yeah, we'll just celebrate his life when we can and carry on.
Yes, that's it. Celebrate his life. And we've had a lot of practice lately, and it's just, it's been tough. It's been tough. Let's segue into something more positive. This past weekend was the California Hot Rod Reunion. You have always compelled me to try to go to one or the other of the events. Did you get a chance to?
Did you see my wife? She's going to the gym.
I was just going to let her go. That was quick.
She's probably so mad because for once I spun this thing around. Usually I do it over there in the kitchen looking back because we have the championship trophy over there.
Yes.
And I always try to get it somewhere in there in the background. And so this time I thought I'd change it up for you, Joe. And now it's facing the kitchen area from our family room. And
hi, Shelly.
In the corner she just went out the door, but I knew that she'd be coming down. There she is there. Say hi, Shelly.
Hi, Shelly. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Are you coming to Vegas?
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
definitely.
yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
It is like a home race. We get the Palmers, who are friends of ours, have that big suite up there, and family and friends, and it's a massive get together. And when I mentioned, I think we won in Dallas, speaking of being on your show, and I talked about all these Napa people and friends and family having these big pool parties, and we sort of let them down the last couple months and not ended up winning races and coming close. They just end up being drunk in the pool and not celebrating the win, and they were one of them. So I can't wait to see our Palmer family there in Vegas. They're big supporters of mine going way back. So anyway, we're heading there with our whole family. So
That's
pumped
great.
about it.
Well, exactly. And you got to rally the troops, right? Because you're in the middle of the fight. So let's, did you do any California Hot Rod reunion? Was that anything, or did you stay home?
I watched the live stream and just kind of watched and you know, these off weekends coming up are sacred right now because we're just been running so hard. I was gone 12 of 13 straight weeks for a while and just been on the road a lot. So yeah, it was nice to be home and flipped on the stream and watched it all with the fuel alters and the funny cars. Of course, Drew Austin, Pat Austin's son. I've been, you know, we won the March meet with the fuel altered, and they won that same event in the dragster, and they finally moved up to funny cars. So it was fun to watch that, and they unleashed an unbelievable run, ended up winning the race. So that was fun. I texted Pat Austin, who's one of my probably top 5 heroes in drag racing that I try to model myself after, because I got to hang out with him and Blaine Johnson a lot when I was coming up through the ranks as a crew member. So watching Pat Austin prepare and win a lot was something pretty cool. And I use a lot of what I saw. And so anyway, we traded texts after that, and it was a pretty proud moment for him.
Excellent. Excellent. Someone wants to ask about the Nitro Moose earning.
Yeah.
How about the Winfinski kid, Nitro Moose, earning his Nostalgia Funny Car license at 17? That's the thing. It's like it's a whole other ecosystem that, you know, those of us all the way on the East Coast, like we maybe don't understand how big a deal it is. Yeah.
Well, and another announcement we're going to have is a new fuel altered that a buddy of mine's put together. That's one of the most historic fuel altereds, and I'm going to drive it to March meet next year. The kid you're just talking about, he just got his license, and I watched the video, and he sent me a Facebook. I got to repost it, but he's the next generation of that. And so, God, the kid ran really well. I watched how he qualified, or how he ran the car, and so yeah, it's gonna be fun. You got to come out to the March meet next year.
Yeah, March meet. That's the one you said, and everybody tells me, like, did you go to the Cal? I'm like, listen, Cap said if I'm going to go to one or the other, go to the March meet first. And that is the plan. And I've got Jason Galvin twisting my arm, a lot of arm twisting going on. So I would love to do it.
Perfect.
And we'll see. So let's go back to Texas now. Really, though, we could go back to St. Louis, where through qualifying, you and the Hagen Venables team, you and your guys, and like through qualifying, it was so entertaining to watch those qualifying runs because it was heavyweights with haymakers just blasting each other. And that carried through. Obviously, we know what happened in St. Louis, but then to Texas, here you guys face each other in the final round. And in my opinion, had you not won that final round, you know, who knows what would have happened after the fact, but they would have been in such a more comfortable position, that 40-point swing we always talk about. But you got it done. You got it done on the starting line. So take me back to Texas and how you managed all of that and put yourself in position to take advantage of what happened at the following race in Bristol.
Well, backing up to Dallas, or to St. Louis, I should say, before Dallas, we had a weekend off, and I made a mistake in the car that I don't know I've made in 26 years of driving. And I felt like we had the best car. And you hear drivers say that a lot, but I really felt like we had the best car in St. Louis. And that was crucial because I felt like we left a lot of points on the table. And then Hagen's team took advantage and won the race. So that was a tough week and a half off. And I've been telling my buddy Tim Wilkerson a lot, because he's talked about how they have a rule where a certain amount of days after a bad event, they just let everything go and they let it
24 hours. He's 24-hour rule. Good,
yeah,
bad, or the other time. 24 hours.
I don't know how he does it. I do not know how he does that. I've talked to my NASCAR buddies, Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon, and all these guys that they get into fights, you know, and you see it on national TV, and they come to blows, and they're on the radio screaming at each other, and then somehow they're able to let it go sometimes before the next race. So Wilkerson, I don't know how he does it, but so that ate at me the whole time. I couldn't wait to try to make up that loss of points in Dallas, and I was possessed in the car to do my best. And listen, you don't ever go up and not try your best. You hear somebody say 110%, or I really get up for this driver. I just, you try to do the same thing every time, and we just happen to come out on the winning side of that. And leave it on Hagen's tough. I mean, he's one of the best there is. So that was huge. Like you said, that was a huge deal in the points, and could possibly be one of the, if we look back and we win the championship, that could be one of those rounds you look back. When we won it in 2016, Dallas was a time we, at the banquet after doing our Jägermeister shots with you,
Yes.
Tobler and I sat out over in a corner and we looked back at what we thought were pivotal moments to win the championship. We didn't win a race in the countdown, but Dallas that year, we had a lot of issues with the car that we overcame, and we got to a final round. We didn't win, but we looked back and said that we should have probably gone out first round. I think I had a whole shot or two, and we fought back from a lot of gremlins that one race. And that was, for us, I think, pivotal. So this was unique because it seemed that way as well. And it could have gone the other direction as far as a point swing, but I was so happy to make that up for my guys, and sort of make up for St. Louis. And then that catapulted us into Bristol and having a shot to get the points lead back.
Yeah. The St. Louis thing, it all blurs together when you're thinking about everybody, but when you're thinking about yourself, and as you're talking about it, it's like, it triggered me, like, what happened in St. Louis? Oh yeah, that's right. The way you handled that, it was a tough deal, but you just owned it. Like, this freaking guy, man, he got me. Like, he got me. This guy, that's what he does. He got me. Like, I'm thinking, oh no, you're not going to get, I think you earned fans that day. Like, people, I feel like that's how you earn fans. It's so easy to be gracious in victory, but in defeat and a tough moment, to be gracious in those moments, that's where you earn fans, in my opinion.
Yeah, I got some pretty unique text messages. I mean, I got some from the production people and TV crew from Fox and Fox Sports and FS1. I got messages from friends of mine that race other series. I got a couple from competitors that we race against. Yeah, and it wasn't necessarily him that got me. That situation got me, and it was a quick tree and just all the above. And for some reason, my eyes went up and moved when normally I try to overcome stuff like that. I always have. And whenever Force has gone in top light out, my crew guys laugh because I've been on the radio before cracking up in the car, yelling, that old man just turned the top light off on me. In fact, we won Pomona, and that was all I was screaming in the top end there. I was laughing because he tried that on me and it never works. Well, some reason that situation just happened and it got to me. So the J.R. Todds and, Robert Haidt and all these other guys that get that thrown at them, there I was. So, I mean, listen, you could take all the accolades that I get from being the driver of the Napa car, right? All the trophies and all the fun stuff, but you got to also own up to when it doesn't go right for you. And you can't just always enjoy the good part. So for those aspiring kids that want to be professional race car drivers, there's no lonelier feeling than a whole shot loss and then having the TV crew come up and want to interview you. It is the loneliest island feeling, miserable. You want to throw up, you want to throw things, but you can't. So I've had to learn to be a good loser, especially on TV. And it wasn't easy because I'm competitive, but I think I learned a lot from my peers over the years with Don Prudhomme and Ron Leong and Tobler and Ed the Ace McCulloch and all these guys I've been around that have taught me that. Yeah.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because when I used to work the top end on a regular basis, and I got to do a little bit this year on the television show, boy, it's tough to go and ask that, right? But like, this is that interview, the pain interview. Everybody knows about it. This is where you learn about somebody. I hate to say it's an opportunity, but it really is, to turn a terrible moment into a connection with a lot of people out there, because they want to know. They know what the winner thinks. They know that guy, what he thinks in the moment. And look, it turned around, like refocused you, and you go out there and you win the Stampede of Speed. What'd you think about Billy Meyer and what they did with that whole thing? We had 3 races in a row in Texas. We had NHRA, we had NASCAR, we had Formula One. Formula One was like a super blowout, amazing thing. I got to say, I felt like the Stampede of Speed was an overall major success. You lived it. What was your impression?
I didn't think they'd pull it off. I thought, no way are they going to pull off everything they're advertising, and they did. And we were blown away. We finally hit town and went to the Fan Fest, and I thought, who's going to show up down here in Waxahachie, or however you say it, on a Thursday night? And holy smokes, I mean, we got down there, fans were everywhere, and I already saw the social media stuff from the concerts they put on. Crazy. So I encourage every NHRA fan, if you haven't been to that race or have in the past, I'm sure they're going to plan something like it next year, and you may want to save some of that vacation money and come in, because it was a little weird in the staging lanes Friday night, because we heard all this crazy stuff over the intercom and over the loudspeaker, and we couldn't. It wasn't you, and it wasn't Reinhardt, and we couldn't figure out who it was, and it was these two rodeo clowns. But once we heard that that's what it was, it made a little more sense. But it was just strange to be back in the lanes, getting ready to get in the car, and hear this different sort of announcing and playing it up like they didn't seem to be very educated on nitro racing, but they were making it so exciting and funny. So then you get in the car and you tow underneath the tower and you see the massive amounts of people. I don't get out of the tow vehicle a whole lot and walk. Some drivers go up there and they parade around the starting line all the time before their run and after their run, their fire suit, and running around and trying to get on TV and get interviewed. I'm not like that much. So I just kind of hung back and listened with my guys. Well, sure enough, I mean, you get up there, there's fireworks, and you get out of the car and they put you up on the saddle, and it was fun, man. I got to admit, they pulled something off that I not me only, but a lot of us in racing didn't think they could pull off. So kudos to Billy Meyer and his whole staff. I'm sure they slept for a week afterwards, but NHRA should take note, because that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like the lights. I like the smoke. I think Friday night qualifying with lights and smoke and the bonus money. I really like the 4 qualifying sessions. The DJ Kid was really talented. The rodeo clowns thing depends on the kind of humor you like, but they did a big festival, and that's what mattered. And it was the relaunch of the Texas Motorplex with all the new updated suites, and they had redone the entire inside. Most regular fans didn't get to see all that, but hopefully it's just the
packed all weekend. Crazy packed. So
and that's what we need. That's what we need. And seeing that Formula One race, right? Like celebrities there, like that's what you need. That's what draws in people, music, and more of an event than just a race. It was a great deal. Then we went to Bristol. All right. The Bristol centerline thing, your take, you're the points leader. So net positive, right? Like could have been even a more net positive, but then again, you could have won every single race so far this season. If we want to play that game, that's not how it is. So take me through, what went down.
Great day. I mean, we fought qualifying, really fought it. And that was, again, going to be one of those weekends you can look back, and that's going to be when you didn't win the championship, or did you come alive and get through a weekend that, a lot of people are fighting the track and all that. Well, lo and behold, number 2 qualifier, the last session. And then going to race day and big round wins, Hagen going out first round. It really looked like things were going to be good. We were in the right lane. Some of the quicker cars were choosing the left lane, even though it was bumpier, but they were running better. So it was unique to get up next to JR, because they had lane choice and they actually chose the left lane, which we didn't want. So everybody kind of got what they wanted. Just tricky. And again, this Wilkerson 24-hour thing, I can't do it, because I wouldn't even watch the TV show until probably the Tuesday or Wednesday after. I was so mad at myself. But it was so difficult to get down that right lane, because the second big jump, if you weren't exactly centered on the track, even when you were, it would kick you off to the right. And then I almost lost the cruise run because I hit the bump. It pushed me to the right, and I had full lock steering wheel, and it was kind of staying straight, and we won by fractions, right? So I said to myself, and I talked to Guido, maybe the inside of the lane just a little bit is less of a bump. And that turned into, and I watched Hagen's when I got home, that next week on TV, and he lost first round, probably because he got a little to the inside. Several other cars did as well. And it cost me for sure, because JR was going to win. We weren't going to beat him. And Guido said they had us out ET'd. But what happened was I just a little bit inside in my head, and sure enough, it was worse to hit that bump, and it just drove me further out, and I was already inside of the lane, and could have been a lot worse. I only hit it with a header, so it didn't damage the body. But the 5 points, I forgot about all that until the top end, when tech guy said that was a 5-point penalty. So that knocked it down from 6 points to 1, right? You can do 85 awesomely right things in a nitro funny car and make one boner move, and it ends up costing you, much like I did in St. Louis and what like in Bristol. So I got to let it go. The car has been on a string. Guido's made so many good comments about how straight the car has been every run, and there's been like, I think 3 runs that it's actually moved around out of the groove, and one of them had a cylinder out or 2 cylinders out. So it's just one of those things, and it's the countdown, and you're doing everything you can. And I probably should have lifted a little sooner. A lot of things that I say I probably should have done, but you can't second guess yourself in a nitro funny car. Things happen too fast. And look, the best driver in funny car in the history of NHRA has, I think he's been docked 30 points. I mean, he's done it a few times, and he's the best we have. So that tells you how tough it is to drive a funny car, especially at Bristol.
Yes. Yeah, well, exactly. This is part of it. This is part of the story, the scrum, like you watch boxing and various combat sports, right? Like in that moment, to be perfect is a challenge, right? You do the best you can, given the circumstances, a winner will be declared. All right, so we're headed to Vegas. We touched on it at the beginning. Let's touch on it again. And I see Justin Ashley down there. Maybe I'll have a little crosstalk between the two of you guys. But after this has become one of my favorite races, right? You got Vegas, so you got the hotels and the food and everything, and we're all still coming back. The track is awesome. Jeff Foster does a great job out there. But then you got the Halloween weekend and all the traveling fans, people flying from other, used to be other countries, maybe not right now, but people go there as a destination. And this is the second to last race, which means maybe it's not quite as tight as the finals.
Yeah, big weekend, like you said, in a lot of aspects. It's always been a fun weekend, I'll tell you, because first of all, the Halloween thing always makes it fun. And without a doubt, I will go on record and say the Pro Stock division has always been number one low qualifier in the Halloween department. I mean, some of the wives that these guys have had, and going back to Dallas, I've got to win a lot with Greg Anderson, and we had a lot of fun. We've shared a lot of winter circles, and I told him that race, I go, I love when you win because we're right behind you guys, and he's got all these beautiful women jumping up and down with his crew, and it's crazy. And he just laughed at me, he said, yeah, it was pretty cool. But looking back, some of the cool stuff that the Pro Stock wives and girlfriends have done in the past, it's always something that's intriguing. You kind of wait and see, but the chance to do trick or treating with the kids in the pit area that NHRA is going to put together, that's going to be a lot of fun, and a lot of cool prizes given away for people coming out dressed up. Saturday will be fun in that respect. And then, my gosh, Sunday is going to be, it could decide championships, and it usually does. Although Pomona's 1.5 points, it is always a cornerstone of the championship right there on Sunday at that race in Vegas.
Yeah. Pomona 1.5 points. Here we go. First of all, thankful to just be able to go to Pomona. Thankful to be able to race, frankly. Thankful to have my health, frankly. But here we go, right? The intensity of the final couple of races. Ron, congratulations on winning Texas, the cowboy hat. And we got the guy you shared the winner circle with down there, along with Greg Anderson. I'm going to bring on Justin. Is that cool? You and Justin get along?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I asked Ron before the show. I was like, hey, you guys get along? Ron, some people don't get along. I got to ask, I would hate to bring two people that hate each other like poison on.
How can you not get along with him? Man, he's so infectious when you're around him. His crew chief, Mike Green, was yelling at me in the winter circle, though, because he had a flight late Sunday night to get to, and that was the whole Southwest debacle going on, and I barely made it out the last flight at midnight that night. I don't even know. I forgot to ask Mike, but he's like, Caps, hurry up with your winter circle. I got to get to my flight. So he was mad at me.
Justin, what was your side of that story?
Oh, man. Well, listen, first of all, I love Ron. So we got no issue there. Ron is the best. So to be able to share a winter circle with him was awesome. And yeah, that was a funny night because that night leaving Dallas, there was this huge storm coming in and everyone was trying to get out and it just turned into chaos. And we didn't mind. We were hanging out, enjoying the moment, but crew chief Mike Green, he had a flight to catch and Ron was enjoying the winter circle. They had honestly though, they had a lot of different sponsors hats to put on and stuff like that. And they were having a good time going through the deal. But eventually Mike's like, all right, Ron, let's go. I got to get my flight. I got to get moving. I'm off for the celebration, but Let's get this thing going.
He didn't make it though, did he? Nobody did. Did he make it?
I think somehow he made it out. I didn't make it out. I don't
I
think you
slept
made
in
it
an
out.
alley. What are you talking
made
about?
it
I
out.
slept under a bridge in Dallas.
It
That
was
was
crazy.
terrible.
It was
My
crazy.
flight went out at 11:59. I was the last West Coast flight out of Dallas Love that night on Southwest.
There you go.
Oh.
Lucky.
Oh,
Very
love.
lucky.
Love you using the secret moves, huh? Love
Yeah.
Field. It has been recommended to me. Hey, one more thing for Ron. Troy says the ghost ride after the win, epic. And I've had a lot of people say that as well. You've got a couple of signature things to slide down the funny car, but when you came out the top and you're like, well, the car is in the shutdown area, still traveling at like 70 miles an hour. Oh, like I said, never mind.
Well, Graham Light used to threaten to fine me every time I did that. And Graham Light's not around anymore, so I forgot I did that till you just said that. And I was waiting for one of the tech guys to come over and go, "You're not allowed to do that," because Graham Light would threaten me every time. You cannot come unbuckled and get out of the car when it's still rolling. So,
like I said,
what are you going to do, right, Justin? I mean, you get excited. People forget. I don't even have to say it. You try so hard. It's so tough to win, especially a team like Justin's to share the winner's circle with them, overcoming a lot to win in Top Fuel. That's a tough category as well. So, man, you lose your mind sometimes, and you say things that sometimes you wake up Monday morning and you're like, you start calling people and go, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. Did I say this wrong? I didn't." It's just you can't explain it to people unless you've been in that position.
You're right. I can second that, Ron, totally. And, from my perspective, I totally understand what you were feeling. So I love that ghost ride. I love that emotion. I think it's good for the sport. Honestly, it's like when you cross that finish line and that win light comes on, especially in the final round, it's like all you want to do is get out of the car and celebrate with your team because, like you said, they are so hard to win and you never know when your next one's going to be. So you want to take in that moment and it's special. And nonetheless, I know I wouldn't fine you. I think it's good for the fans and it's fun to watch.
See, I think it was amazing that these guys at Fox have generated these computer-generated technology that can do great things like that.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like, was it even real? Was it even Ron? Like, who knows these days? Who knows? Ron, thank you very much. Any final thought or something for Justin before we let you head on out for the rest of your day?
No, man. He just keep doing what he's doing. He's fun to watch. Great team. Mike Green, I've known forever. You can't call them underdogs. I know a lot of people still do, but that car goes down the track, never has issues, and so you don't want to already think about next year, but it's going to be so much fun next year with all these teams coming together and running as good as they are. And I'm excited for him. He's got his whole future ahead of him, and he's one of the ones you like to watch because social media, all the stuff that he does is it's definitely, like I said, infectious. And somebody my age, I'm always keeping an eye on what the kids are doing, the younger guys. So he's definitely one I keep an eye on.
There you go.
Thank
Justin,
you,
any final thoughts for Ron before we blast him out of here?
Yeah, thank you, Ron. And we're always rooting for you. So we'll be rooting for you to win that championship and bring the whole thing home. From my perspective, just being a young driver, I always look to emulate certain people in the sport. And you're one of those drivers for what you do on the track, but what you do off the track too. So just want to let you know that. I appreciate that very much. It's fun to watch. And, we're rooting for you to bring that championship home.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Ron, have a great day. Thanks for making the time on WFO Radio. Thanks for that tease at the very start. But everything in time, right? Everything in time. I'll be at PRI. I know you will, but so much to decide between now and then. Let's not waste all this great racing that we have got coming up. Ron, have a great day. Thank you.
You got it, man. See you guys.
There he goes. Ron Capps with us here on WFO Radio. And Justin, thank you for doing a little crosstalk with Ron. I think it's super cool to see, you guys together, drivers in different classes, not on the same team, interact and engage, and to know that you guys have got, positive relationship behind the scene. But now that Ron's gone, man, the ghost ride, yeah, super cool.
Yeah, right. No, I mean, it's cool for me to have an opportunity to talk with Ron. We're so busy at the racetrack and I have such a respect for him and his team, but I never really get the chance to speak to him too much. So be able to share the winner's circle with him and his team was a lot of fun. And that's a guy that's won so many races, and to see his team and himself still be on such a high, still be so excited, just goes to show you how much each of these wins actually does mean. They are so difficult to win. I don't care if you've won one Wally, if you haven't won before, if you've won 100 Wallies, They're just so special every time you bring it home. So, really enjoyed the opportunity to enjoy that, winter circle with Ron.
So we were talking a little bit about the 48-hour rule that Wilkerson has announced to the world a couple of months ago, because he won the U.S. Nationals, and then he lost first round, and then he won, and then he lost first. And it was just like a test in, how you can regulate your mentality. And he said 24 hours, that's it, win or lose. 24 hours later, we're back to neutral, back to square one, and just begin again. You kind of had a difficult situation too, whereas in Dallas, you go up against Torrance in the final round in Capco country and do what nobody can do. And, you beat him. And to me, that's probably your arrival in the NHRA as a top fuel driver. You had won before, but in the playoffs under a massive stage, I was thinking, like, who can take it to Torrance in Texas? Who can? Justin Ashley and his young upstart team can. And to me, that was great. So let's focus on that and that final round and getting that victory. But then, the sport, no rest for the weary, right? Come right back out a race later. You've got some chance to make hay. I don't want to bring you down, though. Let's keep it on the high note and talk about that win and how you guys brought the fight to the Capco team.
Yeah, that team is tough. Each team is tough. Whether you're talking about the top 10, you're talking about a guy like Josh Hart, who's not even in the top 10, who's considered a part-time car, but that guy's a full-time car. Every car is so difficult. And when you look at that Capco team, they are just so consistent. The drivers are consistent. The teams are consistent. And then when you go to Dallas, forget about it. They are so difficult to beat. That is their home track. They want that win more than anything. And it was an honor to be able to go up against Steve and race against him in that final round. And we had to beat some really tough competitors along the way. But make no mistake about it, kind of like what Ron referenced, a lot of people still view us as an underdog, but internally, we do not view ourselves as an underdog. We know that we belong. We know that we're there, and we have a will and an expectation to go out there and be successful. And it's not easy. And you see it with all these ups and downs. That's why Tim Wilkerson, who's been doing it a long time, has that 24-hour rule, has that 48-hour rule, because the sport is so tough. There are so many ups and downs through a 20-plus race season that the best thing that you can do is remain linear and stay neutral. So we enjoyed that win. We soaked in the moment because it was such a hard-earned win. And I'll tell you, Joe, I enjoyed that win even more than I enjoyed my first win. It was so hard-earned. It was in the middle of the playoffs. Everything was up for grabs and on the line. And, then we just have to shift our focus to Bristol, take what we learned from there and shift our focus to the next one.
Yes. Yeah, no. And you mentioned Josh Hart, and you mentioned some of the great teams that are kind of on the ascent. And I don't know. I think that maybe you factored into some of their calculations. Like, well, man, look at this kid, Justin Ashley, right? Like, he's young. He could be doing anything. And this is what he's doing. And he just went all in, right? You can't. What did Miyagi say? Like, one side of the road safe, the other side of the road safe. You walk down the middle, just like a grape, right? You went all in. You crossed the road. You bought a team. You got involved. You got in with Dustin, and you're hiring, Mike Green. Like, he was happy. He was in the rumor mill. Everybody knows that, right? Like, where was he going to go? And you guys handled your business, and now you're a top fuel team, and you're being rewarded. And I think others are following you. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, that means the world to me. I'm proud of that. We came out last year, and it was our first full season, and our goal to establish a foundation for ourselves moving forward. And we wanted to establish that foundation because Dustin Davis and I wanted to be here racing together for a long time and have sustainable success. And this year we took that next step. We brought in Mike Green, and you can see how invaluable his presence, his experience, his knowledge has been to our program. Mike is not only a great crew chief, but a great person. And he's had a tremendous impact on our program. So we're really excited to retain him for next year. That is a huge move for me, for Dustin, but for this whole team. We're all one big family, and it helps us create that sustainable success, and it gives us that continuity that we're looking for. So to have guys and girls that want to join the sport, that look at what we did and did it successfully and did it relatively early in their career, really means a lot. And there's no doubt that they can come in here and do that same thing. Just ask Josh Hart, he'll tell you, and have that kind of impact that you want to have and have a winning program. We even saw it with Krista. Krista came in here and got a round win earlier in the year. These things are not easy to come by, but you can do it relatively early in your career.
That is great. Yeah, and I'm excited, and we need it, by the way. It's like, it's not an option kind of thing. And I think some of the younger racers are starting to realize it's like, well, wait a second, it's our time to take over now. It's our time to seize the opportunity and dive into the water. You're not going to get someone to sponsor your Top Fuel team if it's just an idea, right? But if you got a car and a license and a crew and guys, and you know how to show up and you know how to get it done, there's a lot more opportunity. I think you're doing it. So you and Torrance, identical lights in the final round, 35s, right? You both like got up on the wheel and you outran him, which I think has got to be awesome. But then you celebrate, you go through the whole thing, Caps and Greg Anderson in the winner's circle. You got a cowboy hat, which I don't know how you look in a cowboy hat. New York kid wearing a cowboy hat.
Wasn't pretty, Joe.
It was
not pretty. No,
I know it. There are some things that look right on some people and other people not as much.
Right. That's right.
Hey, what are you going to do? Right. You won the thing. But then the following week in Bristol, you got to go up against Torrance again, and you missed it. Take me through that, because that's part of the reality, right? Like, so Justin Ashley is human. He's an actual human driver. Tell me about that race.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, when you look at the race as a whole, it was a really successful weekend. We set the track speed record. We went over 334 miles per hour. The car was running consistently in the high 360s, which is just amazing. It's a testament to Dustin Davis and Mike Green and the team. But it boils down to this, and whether it would have made a difference in the race or not doesn't matter to me. I didn't do my job, period. And that's something that I take personally, and it does not sit with me well. You have to have that 24-hour, 48-hour rule, whatever it might be, to forget what just happened. But within that period of time, it's important to not just forget it. It's important to learn from what happened there. So looking back, I made a mistake. I left way late. And as far as I'm concerned, that's unacceptable on all accounts. So what I took from that is I've been back in the lab, so to speak. I went back immediately and went to work. Whether it's 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, whatever it might be, I went right to work and decided, you know what? I got to make sure moving forward, just not for how it looks, not for statistical reasons, but just to give my team the best opportunity to win. I have to figure out a way to get my lights back up to where they need to be. So, lesson learned. And, I take full responsibility for that. A 108 light is not pretty. It's not what you want to cut. But, Steve did a great job. Their team did a great job. And it's you learn, you adjust, and you move forward onto the next one.
Right. And, beating the Capco team twice in a row in back-to-back races is something that's very rare. You're third in the points. Talking championship, like math, it's mathematically possible, but highly unlikely. You've already had a great season. Do you feel like you're going to Vegas? Do you feel like you're playing with the house's money right now?
Yeah, we feel great. I mean, we feel great about the position that we're in, no matter where we finish. I mean, the bottom line is this: we cannot go out there and chase the championship or chase points. That's just not going to work out well. We have to go in there, and we're still mathematically alive, which is great. It's a wonderful thing, but none of that matters. It doesn't matter what Steve does. Doesn't matter what Brittany does. Doesn't matter what the people behind us do if we don't take care of our business. So for us, our focus, I'm not even thinking about Pomona right now, which is 1.5 points, which is great, which keeps us in it. But I'm thinking about Vegas. We have to go out there with the mindset of taking 1 qualifying round at a time, 1 elimination round at a time, and leaving there with the Wally. And if we can do that, then we'll see where the points are at that point, and then we'll focus on Pomona. But we have to take care of our business. But just to be in this position right now, third in the points with 2 races left for Strut Masters, Vita C Shot, Smart Sanitizer, Auto Shocker, Cotto, for all our sponsors to be in this position together as one. It really is a privilege. It's very exciting for us to be in this position. And, we'll just have to focus on our lane, staying in our lane and controlling what we can.
There you go. Here's a kind of an interesting, sort of funny story. I've been thinking about your team, and I that's my job, right? To think about stuff and where I'm doing well, and more importantly, like where I'm failing too. And I'm thinking about Dustin. It's like, you know what, man? I've never sat down with Dustin Davis. I haven't had to talk this is a guy who he's the other half of this operation, and his profile is too low, in my opinion. His profile is too low. So I tried to get an interview with him on the starting line, but I didn't clear it with him. I didn't prepare him for it. I just hey, let's talk. And he's like, I got to go work. Because he works, man. This guy's worker. You look at the guys on the team, and for those watching on TV, you see just kind of a swarm of guys around the car. Dustin's one of those guys. He's working on the car. He does stuff. He's hands-on. He's part of the action. So anyway, after the race, he texts me, he reaches out and he's like, hey man, sorry about that. I'm like, no, it's my fault, whatever. But the moral is, I think more people need to know about Dustin because, you know, he's a young guy too, right? He deserves profile associated with the investment and what he's doing for the sport.
You're right. Dustin Davis maintains a very low profile, so much so to the point that he's the guy working on the clutch. Dustin Davis, our co-team owner, is the clutch guy on the car. And he, not only does he run his own business, but he runs our race team like a business because that's exactly what it is. And he does not get nearly as much credit and attention as he should. Dustin has done a phenomenal job top to bottom of bringing in the right guys who have high character, high talent, and who can execute. And we see that every race weekend. And he is committed. I've never seen a person work as hard at something than Dustin Davis. He's the team owner. He's the clutch guy. He's the one who does all the hiring. He's the one who does the day-to-day and takes care of the operations. I mean, he really is fantastic at what he does. And, you know, we're going to have to get him out there a little more because he does maintain that low profile, a little bit more publicity because truthfully, he deserves that recognition. He's young. He's only 40 years old. And to be a team owner at that age and do it successfully speaks to the type of person that he is, but the type of businessman that he is too.
Yes. And also, I think it's inspirational to others. And, you know, you see there are people who are out there in the world who are competitive and successful and looking for their arena. Like, what's my arena? Like, where can I be and compete? And, you know, some go to sports cars, which is great, but it's an ego thing because it's rarely on TV and there's 1,000 guys racing and you don't know who anybody is. And then there's drag racing, right? No offense, sports cars, but I've been there. I know what's up. And a guy like Dustin could inspire somebody else like, man, let's get involved. Let's do it. And that's how we grow from 16 cars to 18 cars to 22 cars, which is what most people would love to see out there on a regular basis. Good quality teams, hire a lot of these crew guys and crew chiefs that are on the sidelines. That's what we need. So Dustin's inspirational. Now, on that note, running the team like a business, you guys just made kind of an announcement that you're partnering with a media marketing group. I saw that press release. Catch me up on that.
Yeah, sure. So we're partnering with a group called Interphase Entertainment. Interphase Entertainment is going to represent me as an individual and as a driver, but they're also going to represent our team. So the way sponsorship has moved over these last few years is business to business. And our primary focus is putting together business to business deals for new partners that want to come onto our race team, but a lot for our existing partners because we want to build off of our existing relationships. And we want to help these companies that are associated with us make money. So it's good for everybody. Our whole premise behind what we do is creating win-wins. We want to create win-wins for our team and for our marketing partners. And bringing on a company like Interphase Entertainment, bringing on an individual who runs the company like Ryan Johnston to represent me, to represent our team is going to help us kind of take that next step, in our business plan. And this is a business and we want to be here for a long time. And this was the next and natural step to helping us do that. So I'm excited to work with Ryan. I'm excited to work with Interphase Entertainment. And, you'll see some really exciting things, I believe, start to come out over these next few months related to the subject.
That's great. Let me throw you a quick curveball as we get ready for Vegas, and you can tie it into Vegas if you want. I don't know how much you're into Formula One at all or anything, but I think this last weekend's race at Circuit of the Americas was kind of a moonshot for those guys. I know it had been a couple of years, but they had like just under 400,000 people in there, like almost, a bunch of big name celebrities. Everybody was there. It was pretty crazy. The Miami race for next year is already sold out in like less than 24 hours. It's sold out. I believe that there are lessons to be learned for the NHRA on how to do things. The Stampede of Speed, I think, was a nice framework, like an event around the race, in addition to the race, all kinds of things. Now, granted, Formula One has endless budget, and that is very helpful when creating something like this. You wouldn't be doing all this if you didn't see upside in the NHRA, but generally, your thoughts on the direction and what can supercharge our future.
Well, I think that last year, especially, the first thing that comes to mind is I think NHRA did an outstanding job to not only make it through COVID, but almost thrive through COVID because there were a lot of racing organizations and sports that shut down. And not only did we keep going as a group, but we had fans in the stands, fans at the races, which I think was great. And obviously there's always room for improvement. I think, like you said, Joe, we can take, in kind of a framework of what we learned from the Stampede of Speed and the job that Texas Motorplex and Elin Werner did there, and perhaps apply it to future races moving forward. And I see such a bright future for NHRA. Obviously, the right decisions need to be made, but from a business side, there's so much potential to bring in companies and establish the right relationships. We call it the high-speed golf course for a reason, because at the racetrack, at NHRA races, that's where business is done. So I think that's a key value and a key factor in bringing in companies. But in terms of the future, I think that at the end of the day, we're a show. We're only as good as the fans, and the fans love to come out in droves, and we need to continue to make sure to expand upon that presence, expand upon the things that we can do for the fans. And I think that, ways to do that is just remember that we're there for the fans. We're there to put on a show, and perhaps take that framework from Stampede of Speed and make it an event, do something different. I don't know if people are going to agree with this or not, but maybe we can get to the point where for certain races, you qualify in your position and then you pick who you want to race, things like that. I think that we need to make it fun. I think that we need to make it enjoyable and put on a show for the fans, no matter how we do it.
I agree. No, I agree with that. Absolutely. Don't be afraid to try things. That's all.
Yes.
Like, experiment. Don't get totally locked into the way you're doing something. Feel free to experiment. Some of it won't work. We certainly saw that, and some of it will work great. And you just got to decide. Vegas going to be awesome Halloween weekend. Corey wants to know, is there any chance of a second Davis Motorsports Top Fueler in the future? Everybody always wants more, Justin. You'll know that. What do you think?
Look, not anytime soon, but of course I don't want to rule anything out, right? You never want to rule anything out. I think that if we have a second Davis Motorsports Top Fuel dragster, we're doing pretty good. So that's a good question, Corey. I would love to have a second Davis Motorsports Top Fuel dragster. I think that'd be great for data, it'd be great for sharing information, it'd be great for the team, but obviously it has to make sense. At the end of the day, it has to make financial sense to our team. So obviously we're open to anything, but right now our focus is on our one Top Fuel dragster and doing everything we can to be successful with the Top Fuel dragster and the team we have right now.
Okay, I hesitate to ask you this because I think I know your answer, because you're a Top Fuel guy, and so your answer is going to be the Top Fuel guy. But
Ooh.
Scott, who does Justin think deserves Rookie of the Year? Justin, what do you think? Look at this great piece of fantastic battle art that our guy Steve Renwald put together. It's tough. They both got 2 wins. You're a drag racer. Your dad is a door slammer guy. You know how hard it is. What do you say?
This is the toughest Rookie of the Year battle in a long time. Trying to decide if I should toe the line here and be politically correct, Joe, or should I tell you what I really think? No, I mean, listen, it's WFO. I got to tell you what I really think, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, no, look, the truth is this. Both drivers have done a fantastic job. I think what makes it unique is that Josh Hart and Dallas Glenn aren't just drivers. They're great drivers, but what they do off the track, some things that I didn't know. Obviously, Josh owns his own team. He brings in his own sponsors. He did a tremendous job of building an entire program, and he went out there and won his first race, and then he backed it up and said, you know what? Hey, check me out. I'm going to win another one just for good measure. And then Dallas Glenn, the job he's done on the tree, the job he's done driving from day one. I think if I'm not mistaken, they weren't even going to drive the full season. Then he ended up racing the full season. Yep. And then if I'm not mistaken, he works on the car. He drives the car from race to race. So
yes,
such a tough battle. I mean, obviously I wouldn't, if they were going to do co-rookie of the year, that'd be fine with me, but I have a familiarity with Josh. So I'll say having a familiarity with Josh, I've been very impressed with the job that he's done. And when you look at the Rookie of the Year award, it's supposed to be an accumulation of what you've done on the track, but in terms of your relationship with sponsors, fans, and media too. And, I know Dallas does a great job of that. I just don't have a relationship with him. I have a relationship with Josh, and, just for that fact, he'd get my vote because he's done a superb job all the way around all year.
No, I listen, and I appreciate that. And that's so exactly what I said. You're a Top Fuel guy, so you're going for the Top Fuel. That's it. Well, and Greg Anderson was on the other day. Okay, so Dallas drives for Greg Anderson, so that's not really fair. But if I had a pro stock guy on here, I'm sure they would say Dallas Glenn, and that's what makes it great. I say, I'll just tell you, I'll share this with you. All things remain the same. going out. Like they don't get another win because Dallas has 2 wins and Josh has 2 wins, and Dallas made the countdown. He's got 4 final rounds. Josh didn't run all the races, but he did rescue the team. And there's a whole bunch of superlative extras in there that is in a big, I would right now, I'd vote for co-rookie of the year, but that can change with 2 races remaining. Like if Josh goes out and wins 1 or 2 races or factors into the countdown with a big way or does something huge, sets a record, like who knows? And the same for Dallas. What if Dallas wins the final 2 races of the year? All of a sudden it changes. But right now I would call it a dead heat. And as much as this is drag racing and someone's got to be the loser, that's on the track in this just kind of a frivolous vote. I don't want to call either one of those 2 guys the loser because no one deserves the loss here. They've both done a great job at the moment.
I agree. I totally agree. And I think, like you said, it might being co-rookie of the year is okay. I think in this instance, because I think it's what's fair. But like you said, it comes down to these final 2 races. If one of them goes out there and wins a race or does something significant, I think that might put him over the edge. I mean, if I were them, I might put a WFO radio sticker on the car. I think that might be able to put them over the edge.
Maybe.
And I'm just saying that I think it's important that I put this out there that after Bristol, I got back to the pit and I said, what? That's a terrible light. What happened there? What's going on? And, I was cleaning up my fuel. I was looking at my stuff and I noticed when I put my fuel away in the trailer that there was a WFO radio sticker there. And I said, wait a minute. If it's here in the trailer, that means it's not on the car. So maybe that's the issue right there. So I can tell you in Vegas, we're going to have WFO radio stickers on the car. So hopefully that'll bring us the good mojo, the good juju there.
Imagine if it does. Like, oh my gosh, after this big buildup right here, Justin.
Right. You're going to have to start selling them for very high prices. If it does.
I will. I got plenty of stickers for all the other cars.
There you go.
And it'll negate. No, thank you for doing that. No, right from the beginning, you've been very helpful in promoting our show, podcast, live stream, everything I'm doing. And that means a lot. And thank you. And your dad as well. And so, it was something else for the WFO universe to track out there at Vegas. Thank you for that, Justin. All right. I'll see you in a couple days. Thank you for spending the time. Congratulations on the win. And more importantly, even what you're doing big picture with this team. This has been great to watch, and it makes me feel heartened about our sport. Like the future is bright. Thank goodness.
Thank you, Joe. And thanks for what you're doing covering the sport. I think it's great. I love the opportunity to get on here and talk, and I'll see you in a few days in Vegas.
Sounds great. All right, Justin, take it
Thank
easy.
you.
We'll see you in Vegas. Vegas, baby. Vegas. Justin Ashley with us here on WFO Radio. How about that? The unsolicited plug for WFO stickers, which you can get some for free by sending me a self-addressed stamped envelope to the address on your screen. Just send a self-addressed stamped envelope, which means you fill out an envelope to yourself with your own address on there. And then you stuff it in another envelope. You put a stamp on there, preferably 2. Because, one, it's a little sketchy, preferably 2. Castello Media /WFO stickers, P.O. Box 848-353, Pembroke Pines, Florida, 33084. And I will put a couple of WFO stickers in there, or maybe whatever else I have sitting around, like my Stickman, my Steve Johnson Stickman picture. Who knows what you'll get? Kind of garbage I have sitting around. No, I'm kidding. All right, final comments in the comment section. How great was that? Ron Capps and Justin Ashley and all you people who log on to WFO Radio on a regular basis. And you wonder, Joe, you never explicitly address the rumors. You don't. And there's a reason. And the reason is I don't have to explicitly address rumors. The rumors unveil themselves, which I think is pretty cool. Rodax, coffeeandgrills.com. Get yourself some hot sauce and spice rub and coffee roasted fresh per your order. Marvin Rodak. You guys can't figure stuff out. That's your fault. Marvin Rodak, Fort Worth, Texas. Give him a call. Order some coffee. Do it now. Do it today. Total Seal Piston Rings. Leader in ring seal technology. New episode of Hidden Horsepower drops Friday morning. Frank Iaconio, pro stock legend. Been there, active in the sport since the early 70s. Won the first 500 cubic inch pro stock race and is still building engines for Kenny Delco and the Quadra family and doing great things. What does he think about pro stock, about engine building, all of that? The 1983 World Championship fiasco. He addresses all of that on Hidden Horsepower. It is going to be great. You should go right over to one of the Hidden Horsepower pages immediately. Hidden Horsepower Facebook group. Total Seal Piston Rings on Facebook. Go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, and listen to the episode. But really, it's just an exercise so that you know that Total Seal is where you're going to get your next set of rings. TotalSeal.com. Thank you to them. Samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Brian Massengill, those guys down there in the Houston area. Look, you can reach out to me, joe@wforadio.com. If you or maybe your child or someone in your life is really considering going to Samtech, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. Like, this is about education. It's not about buying a bag of coffee. Buying a bag of coffee, right? Doing something for your race car, right? Serious life-oriented decision right here, Samtech. They've been great people, and I've gotten to know a lot of the graduates, and they all have positive things to say, and they end up places of value. So there you go, samtech.edu. And then there's Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, kind of in the tween area where it's a great gift. You could go on and try to get your license and become a champion race car driver, or you can just share the beauty of a day of drag racing. How much fun is a day of drag racing? And then who knows what road that starts someone on. With the holidays coming, any one of our WFO radio sponsors would be a great gift. And I do want to mention, and I mention it every once in a while, also our friends at Nitro Fish, putting our 10th anniversary t-shirt in the Nitro Fish trailer. Go by and see Tamara and Keelan and everybody in the Nitro Fish trailer. But I do want to say that it is that time of the year where we're securing and locking in our 2022 WFO radio partnerships. So if you are interested in that, you should reach out to me, joe@wforadio.com, before all availability is gone. Like Formula One seats at Formula One Miami. Did you know that it is sold out? That's it. Hey, I got my passcode for Thursday at 4:00. I can't wait to log on and get my tickets. Yeah, that's not happening. It's sold out. You missed it. Yeah. And I also calculated by my rudimentary numbers that they made at least $50 million on pre-sale tickets. Pretty crazy stuff, guys. Going through the whole experience. Formula One Miami, 12 minutes from a house. Also want to shout out to the Patreons, patreon.com. I've been using the advisory board. The Patreons have been a huge part of the decision-making behind the scenes. It was Steve Johnson who said everybody should have their own advisory board. And advisory board is such a corny name, right? Advisory board. But, you know, the people that you trust that have a vested interest in success that will offer a straight, unvarnished opinion. Advisory board. And so the Patreons, the people who have joined the membership club, who are paying, they're kicking up to the WFO universe to get the show on the air, to help out. They're like a sponsor unto themselves. I've been asking them about WFO gear, what they want, sweatshirts and hoodies, all the cold weather types, and coffee mugs. That's all available on our social feeds. You can find it. But we just went through a little process, and it was kind of fun about the next available WFO tees, right? And the advisory board came up with a couple of cool, fun designs. Way to go, advisory board. And Steve Brenwald, who makes the art, and then we just let them vote. But it's been actually a fun experience, and they've been very excited. I also want to mention the Trackside Tech Talk Total Seal Friday. If you've got a ticket to the race, swing by. You don't have to stay the entire time, but you're going to learn something. And you're going to meet Keith Jones and Ed Keebler from Rottler. If you're a sportsman racer or you're involved in that world, you're an engine builder or machinist, there for SEMA. Zero downside to this connection. Tremendous upside. And the program is going to be tight. It's going to be tight. Meaning, you know, sometimes these conversations, they go long and it's not going to be over an hour. It's going to be a compressed conversation. It is going to be great. So let's see what everybody has to say, and then we'll get on out of here. And head to Vegas tomorrow, Vegas, baby. All right, let's see what everybody has to say. This is my favorite part of the show, guys, interacting with you all, right? We did one last week when Alexis DeJoria couldn't make the show on Thursday, and it didn't end up in the audio-only archive, but it was just you guys and me kicking it about drag racing. You putting some questions up and me bantering back and forth. First of all, someone said something about the road. There were actual rodeo clowns there. I don't think that Caps was referring to the announcers, Al Tucci and Wes Buck, who are both friends of mine. I think he was referring to the actual rodeo clown where they had, and that's, you know, the word clown has got a positive, negative connotation. You can call someone a clown and mean a negative, or that's their profession. And that's what their profession is. The guy was a genuine rodeo clown, and they had a bit, and they had a sketch, and they had a bunch of comedy that they were talking about. That is my opinion. So just FYI, because, my relationships extend deeply throughout this sport. All right, so let's see. WFO stickers are good for a win. That's what I hear. Just saying. It's been good luck for most of the year for people who have WFO stickers. Thanks, Justin, says Jim. Blake in Wyoming. Congratulations to Justin. My kid loves his WFO stickers. Exactly. WFO stickers for everyone. Or you could just, go buy some gear. My dad will be 54 years old on Halloween. Oh, this year Halloween came on the weekend. Right? That's Ghetto Boys. Does anybody even know that? Come on. Those guys are still getting paid off of one line and one song, because that is up there with the Monster Mash as Halloween songs. It's creepy. Bushwick Bill. Has never really gotten a reference in the drag racing universe until today. Another great show today. Thank you. Eric says, did you get your tickets? Yes, I got the tickets. I secured tickets to Miami Formula One. I had to, use some hurdles and some things, but listen, good luck is where preparation meets anxiety. And I was able to get through the anxiety. Now, will they go on the resale market? That's the question, right? Will they be up for resale? Everybody in its own time. WFO Patreon is the coolest thing out there. Nobody else connects with their fans and viewers like WFO, says Troy. Wow, what a wonderful compliment, Troy. I like to think so, but also I've been kind of wondering about it, because as it grows, will I still be able to maintain that level of courtesy and connection to the people who support the program? I do this show every week, and I really have a philosophy of my own that to connect with everybody, and that we are going to try to, treat everybody with respect and understand that we all love a sport that is smaller than F1 or the NFL. And we all got to pull the rope a little bit one way or another. And whether it's fans out there having a watch party on Sunday afternoon of Vegas and Pomona and inviting a couple of friends over for some sandwiches and showing the race, like that stuff makes a difference. It really does. Because NHRA is all about the community. And so why not create our own behind the scenes community called WFO Radio Patreon? And that's what we've done. And I appreciate you saying that, Troy. Like, it means a lot. Let's hope it works and recruits a couple more people in there. And you know what? We haven't really lost any Patreons either. Just to think about that. Like, everybody is poning up a couple of bucks, and, people come and go, right? Except we haven't lost anyone just yet, which is pretty amazing. A miracle, in fact, because I try to keep expectations in the cellar. Like, you're going to get nothing. And then what you get is a bonus. Scott says, I'll stop looking for my F1 email. Thanks, Joe. Sorry, Scott. Yeah, bump. Bad news. My inbox has been flooded with the emails from others that say such things. Would you like to read one? Let me read one to you. It's a sad state of affairs for all who was hope. Look, they, I can't find it. Circuit of the Americas is in the middle of Texas. They have infinite and endless room for people. Miami is on the grounds of Hard Rock Stadium in a very tight suburban center. It's going to be a miracle that they can have, a football game. They have 70,000 there. But I don't know how they're going to be able to do that, because they parked the 70,000 where the track is now going to be. And so there's going to have to be some shuttles and all of that. Fortunately, that's not going to be a problem for me because I live so close. Thanks for your interest in Formula One Miami Grand Prix. Due to high demand, we no longer have pre-sale tickets available. You are on our priority list and will be notified via email, and if any additional tickets become available. Thank you. See ya. We sold out. Number 6 all day. Everybody likes number 6. Yeah, that's the thing with the online t-shirt stuff. We still have a great relationship with Nitrofish, and we want to do something for next year. The online stuff, it's like you can't do front and back, apparently, which is a bummer, but it's also super simple, and I don't have to ship out anything. Did you get your Rodax? I know you have to listen to the Ignition Show to find out. You have to listen to the Ignition Show to find out. I have not. Wow, I just had an ingenious idea. Tomorrow, I connect at Dallas-Fort Worth. Maybe I'll try to go to the American Airlines priority desk and track down my package full of coffee What an ingenious idea. Way to go, Jim. That one's on you. Good job. Troy, and had to refinance the house. Exactly. For the Formula One tickets. Oh, I'm not going to go into detail about such things. Like, we put together an investment board to make it happen. If you were on the email for the Formula One tickets, right? Could NHRA just put together one race like that and fund the rest of the series for the next 10 years? Have fun this weekend. You too, Blake. Thank you. Have fun in Vegas. Safe travels. I plan to, but I'm also stressing, guys. I'm stressing about Vegas. Big stress. WFO F1 watch party. Exactly. No, we're going to do camping at my house. We're going to set up the backyard for camping. We're going to make as much money off this F1 parking lot, take an Uber to the race, get home however you can. Joe called in a favor to get his ticks. Yeah, maybe I did. Oh, listen, I know a lot of people got shut out on those tickets. A lot of people. They got shut out. And that, to me, was a victory. I played it right. My mom is wondering if WFO could give her advice on gel nail polish. Yeah. That is not in my area of expertise, but I think some of our ladies out there would be happy to do that. That's the thing about the WFO universe. It's very co-ed. It's very co-ed. We've got ladies, we've got gentlemen, we've got old people, we've got young people. The WFO universe is a cross-section of society. One thing we don't seem to have are like people of poor character. Everybody that sticks around WFO radio tends to be, so far so good, pretty positive person, which is exciting. It's exactly what we want. Positive, good people who are out helping others and doing, spreading the word of this sport that we love. Yeah. And all the great benefits of it. All the good reasons behind it. All right, so I'm headed to Vegas. Why am I stressing? 9 days in Vegas, guys. That's too much. Too many days. Thursday through the following Saturday. Vegas. That's a long time. I'm going to be out there for survival. I'll definitely spend a couple of days under an overpass somewhere in an alley. See you Saturday, Joe. Jim, I'll see you there. If you're coming to the race, first of all, you should be coming to the race. This is the second to last race. It's Halloween weekend in Vegas. Caution to the wind, people. Do something spontaneous. Make the drive. Go to Vegas. Grab a flight. Go to Vegas. Come hang out at the NHRA. Buy some ticks. Get out there. And if you can't make Vegas, go to the Auto Club Finals. In California, we could probably use a couple more people out there. Who knows what that's going to be like? Come see the final two races, and then we'll put this thing to bed for the season. What did we learn today? Justin Ashley, going to put a WFO sticker on the car. Good guy, and appreciate Justin. Ron Capps, I'm a big believer in read between the lines. You don't have to be this, overt. What's going to happen? This is what I think is going to happen. You can see it all playing out on the field if you have the vision. I know I'm talking in code. All right, guys. That's all I got. We're done. Total Seal Tech Talk. Ron Capps, WFO.